My name is Andrea Madeley. I'm the mother of Daniel. Well, I have thousands of beautiful memories of Danny, but the best are when he got confident. You know, as he grew up, he became more confident. He was reasonably sensitive in the sense that he was really conscious of people's feelings. Very careful of what he said. He would never complain about anything. If he bought something that he wasn't happy with, you know, he'd ask me to call them and fix it because he didn't want to upset people. So, but that wasn't a lack of confidence. That was just him not wanting to hurt people's feelings. He was, just before he died, I think the one thing that I noticed the most was how much he'd grown into a young man and what he was looking to do. You know, he had real dreams and aspirations, and I think he sort of worked out the world was his oyster and that it was, you know, it was there for the taking, and he knew that hard work was going to get him where he wanted to go. So there's so many fond memories of him. I mean, it's the smile and his eyes, you know, the most amazing. Oh, bugger.
That's okay.
Try not to think about that too much, you know. It's amazing how you block it out of your mind just so you can get through from day to day. Danny was 18 and a half when he was killed. First year apprentice, so very young. He was operating a machine called a horizontal borer. He was a first year apprentice and he was working on machining holes into a die. And nobody will ever know exactly how he was pulled into the machine, but it had a very powerful rotating spindle, much like a massive drill, you know, the size of a small room. That's the, you know, the sort of size we're talking about. I think there's a pretty strong chance that his dust coat was caught by the spindle, and somewhere along the line, whether he was reaching up to get the lubricant for the drilling job, we're not really sure about that. But he was pulled into it, and based on the witness accounts, he was tossed around, thrown around by his clothing, and slammed around the various parts of the machine. And it wasn't until somebody went to turn the machine off that it stopped, with him effectively wrapped around it. Awful. So his injuries were massive. He lost both his feet, which, you know, in the big scheme of things were probably the least serious of the injuries that he had. Most of the injuries were internal. And that's what eventually killed him. The following day he died because his lungs were not able to transport oxygen to his brain, so he was declared brain dead the following day. How can it not? The day that that he died. It's like a vase that you try to fix, it's just a mess, and you try to put your life back together, you try to get on with your life. But it's just scarred and ugly because there's nothing. Even the most beautiful day, you feel guilty because he's not in it. And I accept that. But it hurts. That's life now. It's hard. Every day is hard. The days that you do find it a bit easier, there's usually something in it that sends your brain screaming back. And it's like it happened yesterday. I look back and I think, this is 7 years ago, but it feels like it was yesterday. And yet I have to work really hard at remembering his voice and things like that, because you're so scared of forgetting. It haunts you, at night time you lay there and you try to remember. And I think that's half the problem, is you work so hard to keep them in you that half of that drags you down. And the guilt then of not being able to do that drags you down. So it's just an argument you can't win with yourself. Well, Danny had a lot of great friends, and every year they come up on his anniversary, and we sit around and we talk about him. I think one of the things that I notice most is that they have a much more acute sense of danger at work now, and just danger, and there's an awakening about the the fact that we're not immortal. A few of them, certainly people that have been close to Daniel have gotten into safety roles at work, and that's an area that they're following. So, I guess the upside to that is that some good has come from that, from his immediate circle of friends and family. His uncle, is passionate about safety at work, absolutely passionate about it. So, in that respect, it's... they have to get on with their lives. They're so young. But it's good to see them, honouring his memory.